A brief overview of World War II. World War II began on September 3, 1939, and it ended on September 2, 1945. On the Allied side, we have the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union. And on the Axis side, we have Germany, Japan, and Italy. Here are three of the main reasons for the start of World War II. The very first cause was World War I and the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles forced Germany to pay reparations to the Allies, which crippled their economy. Secondly, the failure of the appeasement allowed Germany to capture any lands they wanted. When Germany invaded Poland, the Allies declared war. And finally, third, totalitarianism is a system in which the state and its leaders have nearly total control. It means no right to vote, no free speech, and a government-controlled economy. Here are a few major events. In January 1933, Hitler became dictator. September of 1939, Poland was invaded by Germany, which started the World War II. In April of 1940, the phony war began. Then, on May 10th of 1940, Churchill becomes Prime Minister. In July of 1940, the Battle of Britain starts, and the UK wins. December 7th of 1941, Pearl Harbor is attacked, which led to the USA joining the war. On February of 1943, the Battle of Stalingrad starts. In September of 1945, 2 nukes were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, leading to Japan's surrender. This ended the war.
After the United States joined the Allies in World War I, Germany realized that all hope was lost, so they surrendered.
After Germany lost the war, the Allies forced them to sign the Treaty of Versailles, which crippled their economy. Germany also lost some land to Poland and France. Inflation was increasing and the German population was really unhappy about the way their government was functioning.
Then an Austrian came along and became Chancellor of Germany, who then promoted himself to dictator. While this was happening, Italy had also overthrown their government. Both Germany and Italy became friends in fascism. Japan annexed Korea and invaded Manchuria from China. Then they attacked China again and took many major cities and economic regions of China. The Japanese also slowly started becoming allies with Germany and Italy.
The Germans marched into Austria and just took it. Then they wanted to capture the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. Hitler succeeded, but then decided to invade Czechoslovakia.
Later, Hitler wanted to reconnect Germany's exclave, but he wasn't allowed to because the Allies said that they would have declare war on Germany if Poland was attacked.
This is why Hitler signed an agreement with the USSR so that they would both attack Poland. After they took Poland, the UK and France declared war on Germany.
The Western Front of the war was at a stalemate. The UK and France found out that Sweden was exporting iron ore to Germany, so they wanted to take over the iron fields by sending troops through Norway. Norway declined.
Then the Soviet Union declared war on Finland, which further increased the Allies' motive to send troops. Still, Norway declined.
Germany wanted to secure their iron and took over Denmark and Norway. Hitler had a genius idea. He would use the same strategy as World War I. Hitler wanted to invade France through Belgium. That went fairly well, but France sent troops through Belgium to push back the Germans. That didn't go too well due to Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg is when Germany sent refugees to the Allied armies to slow them down. Geography played a crucial role in this war. France thought so too. Sadly, they underestimated Germany's ability to penetrate naturally impenetrable places. The Ardennes was a forest near the French border with Belgium. They left it undefended because it was a forest and they thought it was naturally impenetrable. However, the Germans were about to penetrate it.
The Germans encircled millions of troops, a lot of which were captured. A few British troops escaped. After a majority of French troops were captured, the Germans swept through the country, taking Paris. Hitler took a lot of coastal land from France, but let it live as a puppet, Vichy France. At this time, Italy declared war on the UK.
Hitler wanted to start his invasion of Britain. The problem was that the British were on the other side of the channel. Hitler would need naval superiority in order to invade the UK. However, after many sea and air battles, the UK succeeded in repelling the Germans from their country. German bombing raids would still continue, so did British ones. In October of 1940, Mussolini tried to become Hitler and take over the world. He invaded Greece, which was a humiliating struggle. This made Hitler furious. This is why he decided to ask Hungary, Bulgaria, and Yugoslavia to join the Axis.
Hungary and Bulgaria joined the Axis, Yugoslavia chose to be invaded. Then Germany could send troops to help Italy, and the Germans and Italians invade Greece.
Hey bruv, could you please join the war?
Sorry, y'all, can't. But I can give you some supplies. Good luck, y'all.
The Germans thought that their Western Front was a 100% German victory, so they turned their eyes east. Germany started the invasion of the Soviet Union, the largest land invasion in history. They got near Moscow. Hitler said, "Ha, I won!" But then Stalin was like,
Are you sure about that?
it was near winter and Hitler didn't supply his troops with appropriate winter clothing. As winter came, a stalemate was reached for some time.
While there is a stalemate in Europe, due to winter, let's head over to Asia, specifically Japan. Japan saw all of Hitler's victories and wanted to expand. Japan wanted to colonize all of the Pacific Islands. This is why they started invading the Dutch colony of Indonesia, forced Thailand to join the Axis, and invaded China some more. Before any of this happened, Japan had joined the Axis. Now they were
Great.
The Soviets pushed back the German Soviet, but Hitler wanted to switch up his plans and cut off the Caucasus from Russia. You see, the ACCR, or Azerbaijani Soviet Socialist Republic, was full of oil, forests, and was in a very strategic position. So you can see why Germany wanted it. During the war, Azerbaijani chemist Yusuf Aliyev organized the production of 38 types of fuel and 8 types of diesel. Aliyev and his team invented the high-octane jet fuel B-78. The Soviet army got over 1 million tons of B-78 fuel throughout the war.
The Germans pushed in. The only thing blocking them from cutting off Russia from the Caucasus was the city of Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad was the bloodiest battle of the war, which ended in Soviet victory.
Japan wanted to colonize all Pacific Islands, but a lot of them were under US control, and the only way to get them was to go to war with the US. In an incident that will be remembered forever, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, dragging America into the war.
The UK and the US were debating on whose idea was better.
Let's invade Italy from the south.
Nah, we should invade Germany through France.
They went with UK's plan. After they took control of Africa, the ships landed in Sicily, and the Allied soldiers were pushing in. The Allies made bombing raids over Rome, but then Germany sent reinforcements and it was a stalemate. The Americans wanted to use their idea too, so they sent ships to France. Hitler thought the Allies were going to land here, but they were actually going to land in Normandy.
The Allies sent people on parachutes to weaken German defenses. Then came two landings. In Omaha, where the Americans landed, there were great loss of life, but they landed successfully and started a full invasion of Germany. This is approximately what it looked like.
The Allies had successfully landed and started gaining some land. They took Brittany and pushed forward. The Soviets had fully pushed the Germans out of their territory. The Soviets, Americans, and British were pushing the Germans back a lot. They liberated France. Hitler wanted to reuse his strategy from early in the war. He wanted to encircle the Allied troops in northern France. That didn't work, but he created a bulge, which they called the Battle of the Bulge. The Soviets were pushing into Germany and took Warsaw. The Allies pushed back the bulge and were invading West Germany. After Berlin had been encircled and Germany was no more than a thin line, Hitler in his bunker effed himself. Finished! What did you think we meant?
A Around 700,000 Azerbaijanis were dispatched to the front lines during the war from 1941 to 1945, and nearly half of them died in service.
Then came the Battle of Castle Ita, where the US and Germany protected the castle from the Nazis.
With 2 Axis members down, 1 was left. Japan had been the last Axis member holding out against the Allies, but not for much longer. American soldiers were pushing up through tiny Japanese islands, nearing the mainland. After they had taken Okinawa, they wanted to stop and use another strategy. The first atomic bombs had been dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After this, Japan surrendered.
In the peace treaty, most of Eastern Europe had been under Soviet control. Poland was now a country. Germany was split into 2, West and East Germany. The East was under Soviet control and the West under Western. In Asia, Communist China had gotten back all Japanese-occupied lands. Also, Tibet was no longer real. In Korea, the Americans set up an American allied nation in the south. The Soviets set up a Soviet allied nation in the north. Japan was occupied by America for a few years, later gaining its independence and being an American allied nation.
More major changes happened after World War II. A lot of colonies gained independence from the UK and France. One thing that would be the major thing when 2 superpowers with very different ideologies went to war, a very cold one.
Brr, it sure is cold.
I know, right? A quick summary. World War II was the biggest and deadliest war in history, involving more than 30 countries. By the end, over 70 million people were killed. Here are a few of the consequences of the war. It led to the end of colonialism. It ended the dictatorship in Italy and Germany. West Germany was controlled by Britain, France, and the USA. East Germany was controlled by the USSR. It led to economic problems such as unemployment and low growth. World War II resulted in the Cold War. And finally, it led to the emergence of third world countries. World War II is an important topic to understand and be familiar with. It was the largest and deadliest conflict in history, and it has almost completely shaped the world we live in today. There is so much more to learn about World War II, but I hope this gives you a general idea of the timeline and major events of the war. Thank you for watching and have a great day.